I'm going to start with you because, I mean, it's a wonderful performance, but the singing and the kind of capturing that distinctive sound of Amy's voice. I mean, just wondered about the process there and how you kind of mastered that.
Well, I mean, I think obviously it took a lot of like training, sort of singing training. But, you know, I think it was important to me from the beginning that it wasn't like it was a prerequisite when I signed on to do this film that I had to sing. So, but it just sort of seemed so antithetical to Amy to then like to do all of this other things and then open my voice and nothing come out, you know. It was how she wanted to express herself. It was how she communicated to the world how she was feeling. So I just felt like it was something that I had to do, you know, to train as hard as I could to sound, you know, in a way that was recognizable to her.
Singing What Kind of Fuckery Is This ever since, and seeing it, just that lyric, I've been saying it over and over.
We actually got that printed on t-shirts.
Yeah, we got t-shirts, yeah.
I'm interested, I interviewed Timothy Spall for Mr. Turner when he made that film, and he said that he has such a unique affinity now to Turner, the artist, and when he looks at his art, he sees it in a completely different way, having delved into him. And I just wondered for both of you, having kind of like really delved into this project and literally into the body here of Amy, do you feel a really unique and quite special bond to her that is perhaps different to what it was beforehand?
100%. I mean, I think Marisa will probably agree, but we've lived and breathed her for such a long time, and so much so it just feels sort of part of my DNA in so many ways now. And I felt, you know, there are times that weighs heavy as well. You know, there were days we were getting up to shoot certain scenes and just sort of feeling the weight of, you know, some of the things that she went through and you know, the moments we're filming. But then listening to the music, I mean, I finished doing this last night, went downstairs, they were playing Rehab, and I was like, oh God, you know, it just resonates in a different way where you're just like, hello, you know, it's like, it's such a familiarity to, without having ever met her, I really feel like, hello, old friend, you know, like we've really sort of felt the presence of her in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean to make you blush, but I mean, I imagine with casting a role like this is so tricky because it's so much of this performance is dependent on such a strong central performance. Can you kind of tell me what it was about Marisa's kind of audition that made you think, right, I found my Amy?
It's very simple. What I was looking for is what Marisa delivered so brilliantly. I didn't want an impersonation because there are so many brilliant impersonators, but that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for someone who could embody and summon the soul of Amy to a certain degree. And instinctually, just sort of meeting with Marisa and then seeing her on camera, you know, she did exactly that. So, and it's very unique and very rare to find that.
Yeah, you got that. I'm a North London Jew. You got that spirit spot on.
Thank you.
But the media always, they sort of created, like they always do. They had to sort of find some sort of villains to the piece. I mean, the villain obviously is addiction, but you know, whether it be Mitch or Blake, I just wondered. I found this film very non-judgmental of all of its characters. Was that really important for you both? That this film didn't show the humanity and everyone involved in this sort of quite sad series of events?
Yeah, I mean, the film I made previous to this, A Million Little Pieces, dealt with addiction, so I had a good understanding of it, and you know, and a sense that there are no villains, and it really is a disease, and that this young girl's life, you know, has been so sort of picked apart. So it felt like I wanted to give her power and agency back, and sort of look at it from within, and look at just her music, and look at her voice and her lyrics, and sort of, you know, create that movie from within to sort of celebrate her again, you know.
Yeah, it feels like it wouldn't happen in the same way now. Do you think that we've almost collectively, as a nation, I do think there's culpability that extends beyond just the media. I think it's the need for the kind of content as well from audiences. Yeah. Do you think that we've learned from this? Do you think things would be different now, or do you think that the same thing could kind of...
It's so difficult to say because she was also such a product of her time. It's difficult to kind of imagine who Amy even would have been if she was born 20 years later. Who would Amy have been? So it's difficult to separate her from that time. But I do think that there is still this kind of like insatiable appetite to like know and see, and but I think that potentially people do have a better understanding of mental health and of addiction now than they did 20 years ago.
And just very, very quickly before I go, I just wanted to know what it felt like when you first put the whole thing, because it must. There's a sense of like when you're wearing it to almost feel like fancy dress, but you were playing her. You weren't dressing up as Amy Winehouse. You were being Amy Winehouse. Was that quite strange to look back at yourself?
It was strange, and in a way, I think that was the dress up part felt. That was what was very strange about putting the beehive and the tattoos on, because I've been doing all of the sort of internal work for such a long time, and I think they actually cut my hair. My hair used to be quite long, and they cut it short and dyed it black. And when it was that was more sort of like, if you think about the like 2003 Frank era Amy, that was actually when I felt most like I see her, you know. And then the beehive, it was more about, okay, so now I've got so many things on that in the way of people seeing into me, you know, which is where I felt Amy was living. So it was about just like trying to bring that out again. Yeah.
Well, you did a wonderful job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey, you guys!
Hey You Guys.
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!